Since evolution of creature on Earth, there always had been battle to establish supremacy. Initially it was exercised, exhausting muscle power. But as technology has advanced, power has shifted towards digital power diplomacy, current world tactically employing digital power as tool to exploit others' privacy. Exploited privacy is utilized on compelling the victim. Thus unknowingly victim trapped on lattice, deployed by digital diplomats.
Privacy is worth fighting for, and the way I want to do that is by talking about frogs. There's an old expression about boiling a frog, and it goes something like this. If you have a pot of boiling water and you drop a frog into that pot, it'll realize it's hot and it'll jump out. However, if you were to place a frog in room temperature water and then slowly crank up the heat hotter and hotter and hotter, the frog doesn't realize what's going on and eventually it'll croak. It's true that the scientific merit of this experiment is in question. However, the object lesson is very, very important. When you're living in one specific moment in time, you can only see the things around you from your specific spot on the timeline. This is especially true when it comes to privacy. I started looking into history and I realized that as our ability to record and retain information increases, our natural desire to collect information on other people and keep that information has also increased. We're just naturally nosy people. Another thing I realized is as the distance between people has changed and we're able to communicate over longer and longer distances, our ability to intercept that communication and get information on other people, that's also increased. These big internet companies and this new thing called social media. And these companies started developing services that you could use, and the only thing they asked for in exchange is for you to put your data into the company. It was interesting. It was like the first time the internet became a self-propelled business. The engine that made this whole technology happen was user data. All we had to do was put our data in the system. That didn't matter to us. We weren't trying to hide anything. We could put it in the system, and all of a sudden we had access to all these new, really interesting capabilities, and it was fun. So this is where we found ourselves. We had this perfect storm of legislation passed to increase digital surveillance, and every big tech company everywhere trying to make money off of users' data.
So, now under such chances of data exploits, does COTS, clouds-like product is safe for your organization or country? Can this be a tactical strategy of powerful organization or country to trap? To understand this, let's look at current world diplomacy.
Digital technology is transforming organizations. Ministries of Foreign Affairs and international governments and institutions are no exception. Operating across challenging political and geographical environments, transferring highly sensitive data, we can keep you connected.
In current war of Ukraine-Russia, we all have heard how effectively US, Europe and ICT companies under their jurisdiction have enforced ICT sanctions. These bans put into effect measuring impact of it, through postmortem of data, garnered from users of their ICT system. This is how current world diplomacy is trending.
If you wanted to share a private digital document with a friend in a different location, how would you do it? We like to imagine the file going directly to them, but it doesn't. It goes through a service provider and often to a big tech company data server like these buildings. Not only could they see what the document is, they could keep it there forever. So the question is simple. Do you trust these big tech companies and service providers to keep your data secret? Because you shouldn't. Because they're not allowed to. Let's say big tech company sells you on a cloud service to back up your data, photos, documents, maybe some biometric stuff from your smartwatch, whatever. It's got two-factor authentication and it feels super safe, but let's not pretend like you read the terms of service. Who does anyway, right? Along with the intentional data, without realizing it, you end up putting in unintentional metadata. GPS history, phone and message logs, contacts, internet session times. No one piece of this data would be very useful, but when aggregated, this metadata creates a complete map of who you are, the who, what, when, and where of your life. Even though you're trusting big tech cloud to guard your stuff, at this moment, the government can and does subpoena people's data, and then the government can issue a gag order so that these providers aren't allowed to tell you that your data was requested. This is generally done in the name of national security, but how do you know, since there's no outside accountability? Even the fact that your data has been requested is kept secret. So how can can we have a review to know that what's being done is right? Some companies literally have a dollar amount they charge the government to give away customer data. That tells me that this happens way more than most people realize. By the way, even though that big data center that we were just flying over was owned by a tech company, the land it's sitting on is owned by the United States government. I don't know what that means. I was just surprised by that. Look at this. The president of Microsoft is complaining in the Washington Post about having to execute these secret data requests. I can see how these tech companies are in a pretty crummy situation. And by the way, these secret requests are happening under both Democratic and Republican administrations. Power corrupts people, and the ability to intercept data and communication between different people is incredible power. If this capability exists, someone in the political hierarchy is going to choose to use this power, and they're going to frame its use as good in an attempt to stay in power.
Contrast to previous world where power prevailed, new world for dominance tries to catch your psychology. Thinking growth is customary action. Every decision maker, planners thinks for growth, but, in a dream to grow, incorporating a system without foreseeing its impacts can be destructive. Agents, marketers play with your dream to make you puppet of their hand. Big tacticians, exemplifying overnight benefits of COTS product and cloud environment, will mesmerize you to use their system. They will either sell a time-bound license where you are just the user or give you something free where you are treated as their product. In both the cases, all the command controls reside on their hands, as they will not deliver you source code and other controlling access.
You are the product, and this is where they store that product. Some of the stuff that's stored in data centers like this, I'm frankly grateful for. A soldier with a gun showing up at your house and rifling through your physical papers. We now live in a very different time. Now someone just has to gain access to your digital files wherever you store them, which is easy to do without you knowing because we no longer maintain physical control of our effects. This video, for example, I am grateful for the ability to distribute this to everyone. How long I looked at a particular picture on Instagram, what my search history was, what the location of my phone was last night, where you slept, who slept there with you. It gets weird, doesn't it? It's more than that though, because I've got all my documents, like personal and business, I've got all my emails, it's all there. That's the treasure trove. It's all in one place. Is that smart? So if you're like me, you might be okay with your data being stored in a facility like this as long as it was kept private. But what if I told you there is a way for someone to remotely extract data from your records without you knowing it?
This phishing bandwagon is becoming a very effective tool to crush weaker segments of the world. Once your country or organization get accustomed with their system, now you are in position to get exploited, as they have access to every bit of information stored in system. You within your country or organization become puppet. So the whole diplomacy is to make others dependent using bandwagon of COTS, cloud-based ICT systems. Powerful segments of the world have well understood the importance of information during crisis. Information had always played vital roles in every war, no matter whether it is family war or business war or world war. At war, disclosure of the information to enemy puts opposition in weaker side. In Hindu mythology, even Rama had took information from Pivazan to kill Ravan. Hence be cautious. Taking shortcut may ruin your goal. Having complete control over your information is very vital in current world of information technology. Dispensing control to third party on your information will costume you as dummy. You are left with just an option to act on their fingertips. Hence using pre-made rapid application development tools may exhibit initial benefits in terms of quick implementations, but remember, all yellow are not gold. Proprietary solutions may take longer, you might come across difficult situations, but will give you ultimate key, where you can stand in your own legs. No big companies or countries uses such rapid application development shortcuts, where they don't have entire control. Hence it is important for ICT planners to understand whether ICT infrastructures to be deployed handing complete trigger to them or not. Having entire control and knowledge of ICT system to be deployed is most important concern to be hunted from planners for sustainable development. So do not go for a shortcut. It is better not to have than having a system with control in others' hand.